Do. We are live. Yo, what's
Yeah.
up? So making the podcast here, and special guests. We have Big Bike BMX in the house, 80s Craig and Isaac Irvine. I forget what you go by on the podcast, Isaac, but I'm going to stick with Isaac Irvine.
That works.
And we've got
Isaac.
Mike. Go ahead.
Real quick, this is kind of a normal thing. We're making a plea for sponsorship. I've been drinking hint water on the multiple podcasts I do. So every time we start this is what I start with. One day I'm going to get hint water to reach out and be like, listen, I'm going to give them 2 more weeks and then I'm switching to like Aquafina or something.
You are not that big.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to give them like 2 years.
You don't know me, man.
They don't know you either.
Trust me, dude. Dream big.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
but give it time, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm the king of willing success into life, man. If I will it in, they'll come calling.
I agree. I agree. You are probably one of the most positive people I know, Mike.
So what do you guys think of the overlay? Are you seeing it?
I think it looks awesome. I'm seeing it now on Twitch, and I'm really kind of blown away.
I really like that wheelie
dope.
that you're doing, and I love your helmet, the cheetah.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's my wife's helmet. Swear to God.
Well, it's hot.
Yeah, it really is.
So
I'm getting it. Oh, that's dope.
That's actually the Tour de Fat in Tempe is where that picture was. That's where you got that one.
So let's for anybody that jumps on, it'll be a minute. People will catch up, but for people to jump on for context, for anybody that's been around us, the whole premise of this show has been like we started off with this idea. We're going to start a podcast, and honestly, man, you're a big influence on that because you and I have talked about this probably for a couple years, talking about me creating content other than my daily posts on Facebook. But we've talked for a long time. So Joey and we started off on another podcast. We got a couple buddies. We grew up together, and so Joey and I said, well, let's do our own podcast. And we were kind of struggling with, well, what's our content going to be? And it evolved. It started off, well, let's document us making a podcast. Like, let's start from the very get-go, from literally day one. We brainstormed live. We had people interacting. We did a couple test episodes on different subjects. But one of the, like, probably on night one, I think, we were talking about your podcast, Big Bike BMX, because – I mean, in all fairness, you're the biggest superstars that we know. So when we were talking about it, we were like, yeah, man, we need to learn stuff from Isaac. And so we've only been doing this now. We're probably maybe 15 episodes in, and it's only been in like the last probably 6 episodes that we kind of agreed on a format of having guests every week.
2 to 3 episodes a week, just to give you an idea.
And we said right from the jump, we were like, let's get Isaac. And now, in all fairness, I didn't know Craig. We've known Isaac for years, but we were like, let's get Isaac and crew on and talk about his kind of success stories, creating his podcast. Because you've got a pretty decent size. You do have a pretty decent size podcast, right?
For me, it feels small, dude. I'll be honest with you. Like, it feels small because Craig, I don't know, Craig, I think you'd agree. Like, it's very much a family. Ours is very much like a family oriented. And I don't mean like age wise. I mean, like, you guys ride bikes.
I get your family orientation. Bikes, you know? It's a community oriented.
Community. There you go. That's a good way to look at it because so we kind of have a leg up on like when we talk about our podcast because actually I'm going to go back to the start on how I started, right? Because then it involves Craig and how this thing whole kicked off. But it kicked off with I was like, the pandemic had just happened, like just started. Like I got a big BMX bike for Christmas in 2019, 2020, right? January. So I made this episode that it's an episode. When I filmed it, it was me holding my phone in my front yard. Like, hey, you guys, I just found this. They have big BMX bikes and you don't have to ride a mountain bike and wear spandex with a bunch of angry dentists if you still want to ride
Yes.
bikes, right?
That's
Right?
awesome.
So I was like, you guys check this out. And so I'm riding it, and I grew up riding BMX bikes. I was a sponsored BMX like freestyle kid when I was younger. So for me to come back and find this, dude, it was like fountain of youth. It was fun. It was like
Healthy.
I was searching for a hobby. It was healthy, yeah. I was looking for a hobby. I was looking for something to do that would kind of really amplify, my creativity and all of that. And when like because my whole life I've done creative things like that. Like before I worked at GoDaddy, I was a tattoo artist, right? It's like I feel like I have to be creative. I have to do stuff. And so growing up doing BMX, that was in the 80s.
I didn't know we had that in common, by the way. Tattoo.
Oh yeah, dude, I'll tell you all about it, man. I had like my first machines were Mickey Sharps, and then
I didn't
got an Aaron
tattoo,
Cain's.
but I owned
you
a
didn't?
shop, a very successful shop.
Dude, we'll talk. Yeah, I love the tattoo industry. But you have to understand, like I apprenticed it like in 2000, like right before 2000.
That's when that's when I sold my shop, was 2000.
We'll talk. We'll definitely talk. We'll chat about it. But BMX, dude, I always did BMX, and being an 80s kid that BMX'd, it's like we all had that in common, right? We all like got that freedom at the same time. And you got to understand too, like at the time I was like 48, because it's been a couple years, right, Craig? Craig's my math guy.
Yeah, it's good, dude. Keep going.
Okay.
You're a little bit younger, but keep going.
Wait, did you all know each other growing up, or is this relationship new?
Not at all. This is why the story gets rad.
Come on now.
This is where the story gets rad. So I make this, I'm really into BMX. Had the community when I was a kid, because like when you were a kid, dude, like we had a couple things. Mike, we do this all the time. Star Wars, right?
Yep.
I was an only child with a single mom, so I was like, my mom wasn't like it wasn't like now when parents think about kids' emotions and like how they're adjusting, like I should get play dates for my kid. That did not cross my mom's mind once.
Gen X, baby.
Yeah, she's like, go outside, drink from a hose, be home.
Yeah.
Don't get in a van. If you do, just we'll see you.
This has been a popular topic for us lately, by the way. This is awesome.
Yeah, being like 80s kids, I like the fact we're all here. We survived the Cold War, right? We were just talking about like nuclear bomb drills in school.
and we didn't end up on any milk cartons, so we're good.
Not at all.
How we survived and made it to this,
bro.
We got the internet now, right?
Yeah.
I get this. I remember my mom picking me up from preschool in a Pinto, right? That's the car that blows up when it's rear-ended.
Yeah.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah. And like we would drive up the like the like what 620, 520 up. I'm trying to think what that freeway is.
You're looking for the freeway, like 580, 580,
yeah, 580.
680. Yeah.
We would drive the 580, dude, and I would sleep on the ground, like on the floorboard, if I was tired, like just sucking in fumes, right? So that's why I'm stupid now, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I remember we would drive, and I would stand up in the front seat and just get the mom seat belt at stop signs, right?
Yep.
That's an 80s kid. So the fact that we're still here, surviving all of that, and like no one thought about my emotions when I was a kid, and like, is he adjusting to other kids and socially? Not at all. So you had to walk up to kids and be like, "Do you like Star Wars?" Because it's 100%. They're going to be like, "Yeah." You want to play Star Wars? Yeah. So you always had a friend. Like it wasn't hard being like being an only child in the 80s, hell easy, because we had Star Wars, right? So, and then when I grew out of toys and Star Wars, I found BMX bikes. And so I had to get really good at BMX so that I could easily make friends again, right? So that's my BMX journey, right? So it's not that I have a lot of talent or anything like that. I just put a lot of time into it. I spent a lot of time riding my bike because I didn't have anything else to do. So fast forward, I'm looking for fun. I'm looking for something. And you can literally watch my personal Instagram and see like all these phases that I'm going through, like, like all kinds of stuff, dealing with that viral video. And like, it was just a lot of like, coming down on mentally. And then get this bike. It's dope. I go outside. I ride a wheelie on it because I used to ride wheelies when I was a kid. I could ride a wheelie on it now. I was like, this is awesome. My kids are like, whoa, Dad, and I'm like, that's right. Your dad used to be cool. And so So I upload this. I get so excited. I upload this video to YouTube, and that has no channel name. The channel name is whatever. I think it's like my email address is what it was, right? And I think the only other video was like some Russian doors I got from my Humvee that I was like I unboxed.
Oh man, I remember that thing.
Yeah, dude, it's in the front yard. I hate that thing.
Okay.
You want it? I'll trade it for a minivan right now.
No.
Okay. What about your Jeep? What about your Jeep?
We got rid of that, man. The pandemic, we all made changes. No need to have 2 vehicles anymore.
Yeah, we only have one vehicle too.
My HOA dude hit me up with like an abandoned vehicle notice, and I'm like, yo, I haven't worked since 2020 in an office. Why would I drive an 8 mile a gallon truck to the store? No, it's not abandoned. I just don't have to drive it.
I feel like you're being generous on that 8 miles a gallon thing.
Yeah, downhill with the wind. So
yeah.
So I make this video and I upload it, and the next weekend I'm so stoked. I go back to the bike shop and I tell the dude there, I'm like, can I just film a couple of your bikes? Because I want to make a video about them. Because I got people to comment on my one video, like all these old school guys that are like me were like, dude, I had no idea, and I'm like, neither did I.
No clue those things existed till I saw you on Facebook with them.
Dude, so that's where I was at. A bunch of people commented. I was like, yeah, dude, they have GTs and Harleys. Hold on, I'll be right back. Next weekend, I go to the shop, I film them, I put it on my channel, and I'm like, this is awesome. Now, the pandemic hits, right? So you can't go to the shop because you're going to die if you go outside and just breathe outside air. And so, for context, y'all, the date is July 26, 2022. I'm making 2020 jokes. Okay. So, because I'm assuming this podcast will be around for 100 years. So I'm for the kids. So, yeah, for the kids, bro. So I was like, I got nothing to do. So I am now watching because I'm lazy and I have old eyes. I can't read as much as I would like to. I'm an avid reader when I was younger, but working in computers and like what we do to our eyes doing that all day long, like I can't see anymore. I'm blaming it on computers, not my hereditary or anything.
Yeah.
The fact that we're pushing, well, in you guys' case, 50, me pushing 50.
Yeah.
I am
nothing to do with it.
I am over
Nothing.
50. And
No
hi,
way,
Carrie,
dude.
by the way.
You're over 50?
I'm 53 next month, baby.
Bro.
Damn,
Are you
man.
a Scientologist? How do you look so young? What is it?
Me and Tom are like this.
Yeah. Bro, you look out. I see. Here's the hard part. Like, I know you in person, so but like just looking at like your face.
Oh, and I'm a lot different
like
since the last time you've seen me.
You're about half of who I know.
Yeah, I'm a lot smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, you look so young. Gosh, look at me.
Thank
now
you.
look at you. Look at me. Now look.
Wait, how old are you, Isaac?
I'm 49.
Someone's at the doorbell.
I'm
Oh,
49.
okay.
Yeah.
Somebody's at the
I'm
door.
only a year behind you.
Hey, your
Dude,
pizza's here.
Yeah,
Craig,
Someone's
how old are
specimen.
you?
49.
Go get your pizza. Don't
Oh,
stress.
shit. I'm the young guy on this show.
Are you the young guy?
Bro.
Yeah,
You're-
that does not
you.
happen on this show.
How do you have it? Like my beard just like straight white. The minute I turned 30 years old, my beard just white. I don't know.
Oh,
why.
Well, you
no,
were
man.
blondie though, right?
It's the Santa Claus.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why. Because you were blonde.
Yeah, that's why. So anyway, I make a couple videos, and I'm watching podcasts because my eyesight, I can't read as much as I want to, and there's not a lot of articles online about BMX bikes because it's a new sport. So there's not a whole lot. There was another podcast, a guy named Tucker. I call him the godfather of like the BMX podcast because he was doing it well before I was. I am watching episode after episode after episode, and I see this dude get on there, and I'm like, that guy reminds him, he reminds. I see myself. I see a similar scenario. So I follow him on Instagram. So I reach out. I'm like, hey, dude, really enjoyed your interview on Urban Misfit podcast, and he's like, thanks, bro. Like super cool about it, right? And I have like 4 followers at this point, right? 4 subs. And 3 of them are my family members, and one of them is a burner account, right?
So you're fanboying.
I was like, I've been a fan. So I'm like, bro, cool. Will you come on my podcast? Craig's like, not a problem, dude. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I got someone to come on this, do an interview, right? So I was stoked. So
This sounds just
Hey,
like
honey,
us.
He said yes.
Yeah, he said yes.
Hey, listen, Joey
He
and
said
I
yes to the
went through
podcast.
that when you all said yes to come on this one. We kind of geeked out a little bit.
That's so funny, dude. And so I was like, dude, stoked. I do this. I interview him. I tell him like, hey man, it'll be an hour. Because I don't know how long interviews go. It's my first one. I don't know how to interview anybody. So he jumps on and we just start talking about BMX. And this is part of the stuff we were talking about. Like, ironically, I grew up in NorCal, Northern California. Craig still lives in NorCal and grew up in NorCal. So we were only about 45 minutes away from one another.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't know each other, but we would have went to the same BMX races, the same contests,
Yeah.
the same spots. Like, we would session the same things, but we didn't know each other because BMX in NorCal was huge.
Huge, right.
So-
Wait, Craig, where in NorCal are you?
Same as San Diego,
So,
though.
San Diego, yeah.
That's where I'm from.
yeah, no. So yeah, NorCal. I'm in the Bay Area. So
Okay.
San Francisco Bay Area. I'm east of Oakland, California. So it's in west
you
of
go
Stockton.
Yeah,
Right
if you
now.
go
But I
equal-
grew up in the Bay Area.
Gotcha.
All right, hold on. I'm going to give you there's California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Craig lives right there.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
literally
We got
where
you.
you put the dot. There you go.
Yep. So, but we didn't know each other, but we hit it off, man. We were like, dude, remember going to the grocery store with your mom and like just reading the magazines?
something got missed there. How did you two? I don't understand where the connect. How did you two actually meet? Was it on this podcast?
On the podcast.
Well, I mean,
Ah.
technically, if you want to say, how did you meet? We met on the podcast. So what Isaac was saying was, and it's totally true. He called, asked to be on the show because he saw me on another one. Just to recap, and I said, yeah. So I was his first not live, but actual guest on this thing that he created on YouTube, this show.
I
Right?
didn't even call it a podcast, dude. It wasn't even called a podcast then.
Yeah,
it was
dude,
just
and
like
I didn't even search it and vet him out like, this guy's new. I was just like, dude, do you want
Clearly.
to talk BMX with me? I'm
Game.
down.
I'm
Let's
on.
go.
Yep. Sweet.
clearly didn't vet. So yeah, dude, that's what it was. Like, it was, he jumps on, he says, yeah, let's go.
I'm putting something together that I think I missed. So that was your podcast? You're the
Yes,
godfather
he's the
of the
godfather.
BMX podcast?
No.
Okay, so I get what Mike's saying. So Mike,
Okay.
I was a guest on that other podcast.
Got
Isaac was in a wormhole phase on YouTube.
Yeah.
Got it.
Content, and he found this podcast, Urban Misfit, and saw me as a guest, and then got a hold of me and goes, "Hey, dude, do you want to do mine?" So that's how we kicked it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't vet my podcast at all because there was no interviews prior, and really all you would have saw is my stupid Humvee doors, and then two videos of like one of me
Dude,
getting really
I-
excited about my Christmas present, and the
I
second
did
one.
I pulled up I did watch your video, and I think what got me hooked was you like bikes. That's number one. 2, you had a cool beard. 3, your intro music was like this house trap music, and a Humvee was your intro like video. And I'm like, okay, I think I made an instant friend. He just doesn't know it yet. So
Are we best
So that-
friends?
yeah, we did. We wanted to do karate in the garage, but we didn't. Let it
all the time. So literally, like, I met Craig when we were doing the interview. That's literally what it was. It was like,
Yeah.
like here's a tie back. Like, when you were a kid, you see someone, you're like, hey, do you like Star Wars? Yes. This was
Yeah.
like, what did you do when the new magazine came out? Oh, I would go to the grocery store with my mom and like just read page after page because like there's no way your mom was going to give you like $3 for a magazine. So
Hell no.
So not in the 80s, dude. So you were just like looking and you're like, okay, cool. Like, hope that she's buying, like, just do one more lap, mom, please. And then you're reading. So we shared that. And so it was like, we had so many things in common as kids, Star Wars, BMX, we hit it off. And so we had a great time. We ended the podcast and then we still talked, I think, for another like hour. And so I just stayed in touch with Craig. And then I was like, dude, I'm sitting around like, that was the most fun I've had during the pandemic at all. Because at this point, like, we're still scared to go outside. This is like March. This was right around the end of March. So we just all got sent home from work, right? So it's like getting worse. and they're canceling like seasons of sports, and we're like, Jesus. So we have nothing to do. I'm like, Craig, on our podcast, he talked about the guy that makes these action figures that are bootlegs from the movie Rad. Here's Crew Jones.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, do you think you could, do you know that guy? Could you get him on the podcast? He's like, totally could.
What?
And so,
no way.
What?
yeah.
What?
No, the guy that made the toy.
Oh,
wait,
okay.
Just wait for this. Wait for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
wait.
a whole different story.
The guy that makes the toy.
Well, you
Yeah,
gotta
and so
back
he
up,
does.
too. Did you tell him as well? Like, so making the podcast, right? Isaac's like, bro. I mean, after we do our episode, we hit it off, and he's like, he calls me later and goes, "Hey, dude, I had this crazy idea. Do you want to be a co-host on my show? Do you want to do the show with me?" I was like, "Shit, yeah." Like, sorry about that, but I'm like,
No, you can.
heck yeah, dude. Like, that would be dope because Isaac's got the premise and the knowledge,
with the video creating, the content, mastery that he does on YouTube. And I had a little bit more of, at the time, a connection with the BMX crowd as far as the old school crowd and people.
Right.
And so it was like, that's a great chemistry that's going to work. So I was like, let's go. And so from there, Isaac can take it, but that's how we kicked it off essentially.
Yeah. It was literally like, hey, dude, you want to do this again? Yep. Okay, cool. So we interviewed we interviewed another person. We're like, that was dope. You want to do it again? Yep. Now we have a podcast, right? And so it's like,
yeah,
we sat around, dude, and we were just like, for us, it was like YouTube. That we didn't think about. We had no Spotify, any of that kind of stuff. We was just like recorded on Zoom, edited in iMovie, and then uploaded to YouTube. Swear to God, yeah.
Oof.
And that was it, dude. That was like, and we were getting views and subs. So it was like, okay, cool, right? This is dope. And then the next thing, like when you were talking about like sponsorship, showing like your show it again. I forgot the name of it. What was it again, Michael?
Hint water.
Hint water.
Yeah, one day. It's my dream.
Ding. Okay, so I remember this thing. I just wanted you to say it. So the reason being, Craig and I sat around one day, and so now, dude, it's still the pandemic, and now we're just big kids that call each other every night like we're married, right? So like, eat dinner, call Craig, and that's what it was. It was like we'd hang out, we'd talk, and it was like, dude, who do you think we can get? This was the next big thing. Like, who can we ask to be in our podcast? And so he's like, we can ask anybody. And I'm like,
that's the thing. We made, it was really like, let's just make a friggin' wish list, a dream list.
Ooh, good idea.
And him and I ping ponged back and forth with names. Oh yeah, what about this dude? You remember that guy? And that led to but they rode with this dude. And we just put those names, I mean, literally on a sheet of paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, down the list. And it was like, there's no way it's gonna happen, but let's give it a try. Let's reach out and let's see if we can get somebody on this list. Because the whole thing was, if we can get guests and we can get subs, hopefully this will start getting out like, oh, these guys are actually doing something that people are going to watch, and there's going to be someone that goes, yeah, I'll do that show. And maybe that will snowball and, bring other guests in. So why not? Why not make a dream list? Why not shoot big and just see what sticks? See who we can get to come hang out and talk bikes.
Yeah. So we're still waiting to hear back from Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but hold on though.
So wait a minute. We got questions.
It does not hurt that your community, because I've watched quite a few of your episodes. It doesn't hurt that your community is badass, very polite, very generous. It's just a really good community, like people that I would hang out with, because I'm pretty picky. I like nice people. If you're drama,
it is.
I mean, I'm not saying there's no drama, but for the most part, I've seen a really solid, good community on your videos.
We have a pretty unique platform. So one of the things Isaac and I are part of a big bike BMX culture. We ride BMX bikes that are like the ones we had when we were kids, except
big wheels.
They're big wheels. We rode 20-inch bikes when we were a kid. Now we're riding these big 29-inch bikes, right? But instead of going, okay, we're just going to niche it to that big bike BMX culture, let's do something a little outside the box. Let's focus on that, but let's also do things like, because guys our age, we want them to come and see what we're doing. We want them to be a part of this, right? But to do that, we have to appease to that demographic. And what we got to do is bring in some of the old school riders, the Hall of Fame dudes, the notables from when we were kids, and bring them on the show so we can have, the people who are going to come and watch those dudes and then go, oh, well, what's this big bike BMX thing about? So we really don't, our niche is not having a niche, right? And people are like, well, you're called big bike BMX, yet you have Hall of Fame guys from freestyle, 80s freestyle. That doesn't make sense. Well, cool, because that's what we're going for. We're not trying to make sense or fit a certain niche. We're just doing, really, Isaac and I truthfully sat down and said, bro, let's do this podcast unscripted, unrehearsed, minimal research. Although we do research, I do quite a bit, but we want to make it to where it's organic and it's fresh and new, and the ideas are just coming from the conversation, not so much a script, right? So that's really what, and the number one rule we had, if you want to call them rules, it was like, dude, if we don't have fun, we're done. Like this, we've got to enjoy what we're doing, because that'll come across, and either, if we're having fun and there's passion and drive, that's going to translate on YouTube. That's going to translate in the audio podcast. We don't want it to be dry, boring, or anything. And it may be that, but we're having hella fun making,
totally agree,
whatever we can with it,
So couple questions. Are you guys at a point where, maybe in the early days you had this dream list and maybe you go and ask a couple people, but they turn you down? Are you at a point now where do more people say yes to you than say no to you?
There's statistically, I mean, if we just want to talk those numbers, yes, more people say yes than no, but we have our no's. And from that,
Who's your last
of course,
no?
well, let me just tell you this, and I'll let Isaac speak, because Isaac has great stories about the no's. But
okay, good.
When we made that wish list, and we continually update it, right? Which is a good thing, which means we're crossing names out. Like, yep, they're on the show.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. But some of those folks we reach out to, the answer is no. And it's not like, no, you guys are dicks. But that could be, but it's more like, hey, I'm not really in that anymore. Or, hey, I'm good. We get those. Does it mean that we gave up? No. Isaac and I have this thing we put on our calendar. Every year we're going to 360 loop back around with that person and go, hey, last year you said no. What do you think now? Do you want to come hang out and talk BMX
I bet
with
you
your
that
favorite
works.
friends?
Yeah, commitment to what you're doing will show when you.
Yeah, and it's no pressure. I mean, it's no pressure, but of course, we wouldn't circle back if we didn't like these guys. And
sure.
For the most part, these dudes, if we're talking our old school guests, they were our heroes growing up. So you can imagine, like, when they do say no, it's like, it's a letdown, but it's not like never. It's just no for now. That's how I take it. But
like
the
Bob,
majority,
are you in sales?
Yeah. I wish I was, man. The majority of our guests
are guys that Isaac and I have looked up to, have either looked at in a magazine or on a video, or even had a collage on our wall going,
of course,
there's the dudes we want to be like. And now they're sitting in front of us virtually online as guests on our show. That's pretty dope.
Oh, hell yeah.
What's been your biggest fanboy moment? Like the one where you're like, oh.
Isaac got to go down to San Diego and meet somebody. I don't know how many times he's met him before.
Yeah, dude, there's been a lot. I would say riding. So this just a couple weeks ago, went down and rode bikes with Bob Haro, the guy who started Haro Bikes.
Really?
He's a gigantic name.
Yeah, huge. And so I got is super random. Like my buddy So we happen to know people that work at Haro. I don't know Bob Haro, but I know people that work at corporate Haro.
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, dude, we're going to do this ride out. And it's the first time a ride out, which is like a big ride, a group ride, thousands of people show up.
Yeah, it's like for us, for motorcycles, where we do, a ride.
It's a ride.
Yeah,
exactly. What
rally.
it is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I got
Rally.
you.
Yeah. So it's basically like, yeah, hey, we're going to go ride with Haro. So he let us know. And I was like, hey, dude, if you need help, Craig and I have interviewed people that run rides in San Diego. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, totally put me in contact. So we're able to, because of the podcast, Craig and I are able to like facilitate, like, hey, you need to talk to this person. We're not part of it, but I can cut some corners and introduce some people to make things a little bit easier if you're doing stuff like that. So we literally just said, there's a group that rides every weekend in San Diego. They will be glad to help you organize and plan your ride. They do it every weekend.
Oh, were you part of that process then? Oh, that's cool.
All we did was help.
SD Bikes?
This was SD Biking. Yeah,
SD
Biking.
That's it.
So that's basically their club or group of dudes that ride bikes, and they have like 5 ride every night of the week. So Haro is in San Diego, so it just makes sense to reach out to your local guys and say, guys and girls, and just say, hey, can you come and help me out? And they gladly did, because it's a community and everyone wants to help everyone else. Like, yeah. So what happened was I went up to this guy, the guy that was organizing. I was like, hey man, when are we going to leave? Because it was past the time when we were supposed to ride. And he goes, we're rolling. So I'm literally like right in the front. Bob Haro is to my right. I didn't realize that's who it was.
Huh?
And so I'm talking to my friend. We were riding, and then I start doing a wheelie through a tunnel because I wanted to get some cool footage with my GoPro.
Yeah, it's always awesome when you're wheeling too on your footage.
So much fun, dude. This is the best feeling. So I'm doing that, and someone got a picture of it, and Craig actually sent it to me and was like, dude, check this out. So that was pretty cool just because of who he is. But dude, I would tell you, like, I bring that one up because you had mentioned it, but it's there's so every time I talk to somebody, it's like I'm in awe. There's Halo syndrome for all of them, because like behind Craig right now, we've talked to everyone that's on the wall behind Craig that's alive. We've interviewed, and when we were kids, we all kind of shared this big joke of like, there's no more BMX magazines like in thrift stores, because we all cut the pictures out and stapled them,
of course,
stapled them, and taped or stapled them to our walls like posters. And so the guys and the girls that were doing freestyle and BMX when I was a kid and I'm looking at them, idolizing them on my wall, are the people that we talk to. So every time I get just reaching out and like, it's nerve-wracking. I'll tell you, because I'm like, I'll tell Craig, like, I just asked Chris Moeller from S&M Bikes to be on the podcast. He's like, no way. I'm like, yes, sir, I did. Like, I'm proud of myself for being like almost 50 and just like sliding into some dude's DM, like, will you come on our show? But it's funny because it's like,
so
that's what I feel. He said no.
Have you gotten to a point though that these guys know you when you reach out? Like, have you gained like a little bit of credibility on your own at this point?
In
like when you're reaching out, they're like, oh yeah, I know you guys.
That's a great question, because yes, the answer is yes, but not all. So what I do is, like, when I reach out, and Isaac reaches out too, but my gig is this. I'm going to assume you don't know who I am. I'm going to assume you've never seen our show, and I'm probably right. So I do a boilerplate, I used to do a boilerplate thing. Hi, I'm Craig from BMX Bike, and Isaac and I are 80s kids, blah, blah, blah. And I give them the little rundown.
Yeah.
Not that it didn't work, but I thought, you know what? That just doesn't feel, that feels like some bot put out a notification.
Right.
Now it's like, hey, person that I'm trying to get on the show, I really liked what you did back in the 80s with this or that, and we want to talk about, and we make it more personal. I'll send a link to our like, if like we're getting a hold of a BMX race dude, I'll send him like, hey, we've had on so-and-so, and those guys are racers, and here's a link to that episode so they can see, they understand that I'm asking them to be a guest. Then okay, here's a link to that episode, and here's the names of the guys who have done it previously. Now they're going
probably people they know already too.
Oh,
sure.
of course.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's absolutely 100%. But now they go, wait, who are these dudes? Wait, they had my buddy on the show. They got this guy on. Hopefully they're like, let me take a look at it. And I'll hear back from them, and I leave my phone number. Sometimes I'll get a phone call. And we had a guest on from the movie Rat, the main actor of the movie, Bill Allen.
No way.
Yeah, we had Crew Jones, but here's how that went down. So this kind of leads into that. So I hit him up the same way. I sent him a DM, gave him the info, didn't think I'd hear back, left my phone number, which nobody ever just cold calls me, right?
Right.
Dude, I'm out one day. I kind of forgot about it. I was like, okay, he'll, if he wants to do it, he'll DM me back or whatever. I'm riding my bike, my phone rings, and I'm like, what the? And so I answered it, and he goes, is this Craig? I go, yeah, hi, who's this? And he goes, this is Crew Jones. Are you ready to walk this sucker? And I was like, covering the phone. No way. What's up, Crew? Bill? Because, and that's a different way that it can go. But usually, we hear back, and it's like Isaac was saying earlier, growing up, it was like reading those magazines, a letter to the editor, a letter to a brand saying, hi, I'm Craig. I really like Haro bikes. Would you send me a sticker? Or you write a guy or one of the pros, and you're like, I really like you, and I think your bike is cool. Would you send me a letter?
Dude, I did that too.
Yeah. Would you send me a letter back or whatever? And when you're a kid and you don't get anything back, that's fine. You're heartbroken, whatever. But now that we're older and we're reaching out to these guys, and they're like, yeah, I'll come on the show. You're like, oh shit. So you literally got your answer back from 14 years old, and they're going to be on the show. And you talk about fanboying. Isaac put it perfectly, and very well said, because with every guest we get, I'm totally I'm like, not gassed, but I'm like honored. It's just like, no way. Like Isaac and I have pre-phone calls like, bro, can you believe it? Yeah, this is cool. We're stoked. We're not asking people that we don't want to talk to. We're really asking folks we're super genuinely interested in, and we think others will be interested in. We always play it like this. We're going to get people on the show. We're going to do we're going to have this conversation. We hope someone wants to listen in with us. We never really considered people would listen to the show.
I still don't. It's the funniest thing about it. Like, you guys, you may have picked up on it when you're like, do people? I get excited when people say yes. I'm like, are you sure? Like,
oh, me
too.
You start questioning it.
Isaac's giving him like, hey, you can back out if you want.
Yeah, like if you don't want to come on, like I totally understand. Like it'd be cool, but yeah, dude, like I still get excited every single time someone says yes, regardless of if they have 5 followers or they've got 5 million. I'm just like, it's mind blowing to me, because I will always feel like we're not professionals. Like I always tell people, like, we're really not good at interviews. We're good at having conversations, but we're not good at like, tell me about your first BMX bike, because I really don't care.
Well, I want to know. I want to know about your first BMX bike.
Yeah, but hold on. You say you're not professionals, but look, just talking about from making the podcast standpoint of it, right? Like you're at a point where I'm assuming you've that many followers. I assume it's a monetized show at this point. You've got swag.
100% we're monetized. Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. Because here's the thing, like my whole thing about the podcast from the first one I ever did was, all I want is to have other dudes like you guys that rode BMX bikes discover these things, and at least just know that if you're going to buy a BMX bike, that you can buy a big BMX bike. Yeah. And it's a time machine, and you'll ride it all over town. I promise. You will find other dudes doing this. And like, my whole family goes out like on a weekend on Saturdays here in Phoenix. Like, we all go downtown and ride.
Does your wife ride one?
100%. My wife and both boys.
Isaac.
That's pretty dope.
You've got me wanting to sell my Giant. I've got a hybrid. It's an expensive bike, but you've got me wanting to sell my Giant and go get a big bike BMX.
You should go. It's you just
not just you. I mean, both you guys. It's not just
Hey, you should.
And
I don't mean to sidetrack you from where you're about ready to go, but how much do one of these bikes cost? Like if I were like today, because I mean, what's expensive?
Yeah, $1,000.
Listen,
you can get one for a little like 800.
Here's the beauty about us all being 50 at this point in that range.
Midlife crisis.
We spend money. Yeah, we spend money differently. Like a G's really not.
But it's.
Well, I mean, if the thing is this, so like with anything, you could really get in around $595 retail. The part of that is that would get you in the door, but as you ride them more, and as you start learning to do more things on it, you're going to want better quality metallurgy. You're going to want components that are higher quality, and you can get that on an out of the box bike. And we would say out of the box, we mean a box bike comes out, a complete bike. You just put some pieces and parts together, and you're riding literally within 30 minutes.
A bike shop bike.
Not a bike shop bike.
Not a department store bike, but a bike shop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so I just bought my son a bike, so I get that.
Yeah, and with that said, Isaac's right. If you really want to get out there and be on something that you can really, throw around, have fun, and do things on, you're looking around $1,000 average.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean, my whole podcast from the very beginning has been get dudes motivated and stoked. If you used to ride bikes, I want you to get one of these bikes, and then I want you to come ride bikes with me. That's my whole. From when I was 13, I had the same goal: ride bikes, find people to ride bikes with, have fun. At 47, ride bikes, find people to ride bikes with, have fun. That's all I want to do.
And the formula is still the same. Like Isaac mentioned, being a kid, it's like, hey, do you like Star Wars? Yeah. Hey, bro, can you ask your mom if you can come over? The same thing is with bikes at our age now. You see a guy riding down the street, or you go to
except now you're asking your wife.
Right. Yeah. Hey, honey, can Isaac come over and hang out in the garage? I mean, it literally is. You can just, or even seeing someone with a BMX shirt or a sticker on the back of the vehicle. You're like, that guy rides, and you're catching up to him on the freeway, and you're like, bro, and he gives you one back, because he knows and and it's like, man, we could be friends instantly.
See, that's how I am about woodworking.
Yeah. Have you talked to Rich?
Hey, you got chisels? I got chisels.
To Rich?
Oh yeah, Rich is going crazy right now. Rich would actually be a good guest to have on here one night.
I would love to have Rich. Rich is phenomenal.
Dude. Okay, think about how laser focused Rich Van Meter is.
Yeah, I know him well.
Right. Now think about him doing woodworking and the attention to detail he would throw into
got his first super dope board that he did. He did have you seen the Star Wars board that he did?
Yeah, is that yours?
That's mine. That's mine. Listen, you guys keep talking about as kids, we were like, hey, do you like Star Wars? Yeah, I like Star Wars. Listen, 48 years old, that's still how I'm making friends. You like Star Wars? Let's talk.
Yeah. So that's literally what it was. That's the whole reason we did it, the podcast. And so for us, like we were talking about getting monetized, right? And like how that works. Is that where you guys want to go?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Okay. So basically what happened was we hit a really sweet spot in like history when we started this. Never planned on getting, or it was never a goal to get monetized on the channel. It was a goal because that's the only goal that YouTube really gives you, is like you're chasing this thermometer is literally what it looks like. And so you're like, okay, cool. You're going to game. I'm very easily gamified, clearly. Right. I'm an 80s kid. I did the Monopoly, right, from McDonald's, ate the shit out of McDonald's because I wanted to get like the game pieces. So I'm easily gamified. So I'm telling Craig, like, bro, we got to do this. So I'm researching, like, how do you get more followers? I was like, I got to get subs. And every article I'm reading is like, you got to get, the hardest part is the hours that you have to get viewed. And so we're doing like bike upgrade videos at like 20 minutes. But our interviews, because Craig and I are not good at it, we just sit and talk for like 2 hours with these like old timers. So people will watch that. So getting the hours, we got that in what, 4 or 5 months, Craig, right?
Yeah, it was incredibly
quick.
fast. Yeah.
We got the hours quick.
So were you getting
bro.
that on the 20-minute videos?
No, dude, on the 2 hour long, long
really?
ones, people just sit. Yeah,
We did that with Twitch.
Yeah. Because people, here's the thing, dude, someone would put it on at work and just put their phone down and listen to it.
Yeah.
And it counts, right? So that's how we got that. The hardest part for us was getting subscribers, because like our target audience are like males that are like 30 to 60, let's say.
Yeah.
Those dudes, when was the last time you subscribed to something on YouTube just from like watching a video going, that's cool, subscribe?
Today.
Bro, I barely do. I'll tell you, like
I almost never go on YouTube.
No, dude, I literally I watched a video on YouTube on how to fix a broken bone, and I didn't even go like that dude's video. That's how bad I am about being a good citizen. Yeah, so
if you like somebody,
so
always like their video
brother.
and comment. Comment.
Now being a creator, I totally get it, right? But before, I'm just like, meh. I was salty, right? I was like, I don't care about your YouTube channel. I'm not trying to help you. So
I can see you being salty.
Yeah. So that was like the hard part, was getting like subscribers. But once you do that, like you would think like, oh man, it's going to be amazing. No, dude. Like, I mean, if I clear $100, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I get it.
Like it's like you don't get that much, but like where the money comes in is like on Instagram, the Instagram Reels. Like I had an Instagram Reel hit 5.4 million, and I got like the $1,000 payout from Instagram on that one.
Wait, that isn't from a couple years ago, was it? That's something relatively new.
Different video. This is a BMX video. Yeah, if you go on my Instagram and you just look up, like there's a video of me hopping on the back wheel to House of Pain. I don't know why that took off, but here's the weird part, dude. It sat there on Instagram for 2 weeks and did nothing. It got to 10,000 views, and that's about my average. And it just sat there. And then 2 weeks later, out of nowhere, I'm like, Craig, check this out, dude. This is nuts. Because it was like 100,000.
What are you shooting the majority of your videos with? Are you Zoom or you
like my video, phone? My BMX videos, it's going to be my phone. And then one of our guests told me about like a mouth mount GoPro. So it looks like remember when you play football and you have one of those mouth guards that you just slap in? It's like that, but it has like the GoPro mount on it. So you can, video
wherever you look,
wherever I'm looking.
Instead of the head mount, it's a mouth mount.
Right. Exactly. Because the head's almost so riding a wheelie with on your helmet,
you get the sky the whole time.
You're barely gonna see the handlebars. So then if you wear a chesty, then that's cool, but then you have a handlebar right in the front of your video.
Yeah.
So
that's why you sound muffled when you talk to people while you're filming.
Yeah, because I'm like this.
Dude, hey, what's up, dude? I was wondering. I thought you were eating.
No, I'm like, hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was totally thinking you were eating something.
That's the mouth guard, bro.
Okay, now I know.
So yeah. So that's what it was. So it's we hit the numbers, we got it, but it's like going from we've been monetized for a couple 2 years now, Craig?
2 years, yeah.
And nothing changes on like the payouts or anything like that. It's like if you're basically what I'm getting at, if you're doing this for like money or hoping that you're gonna like do well, do not expect to do like maybe
you're not gonna be Logan Paul or
no, dude. Like and you're barely doing gas money at this point. Like it's not enough to motivate you to do it. Trust me. If I was this, it's not, the motivation is not going to be, you're not going to get paid for it. The motivation is like I'm 50 and I get to hang out with my best friend and talk to dudes that we looked up to as kids, right? And talk about and find out the best way I can describe the feeling of this, because if you're not passionate about something, it's hard to understand it, right? But it's the same thing if you watched, just imagine the shows you watched as a kid. So let's say you watched Full House, and I'm trying to think of shows everyone watched, right? Full House. It would be like interviewing Uncle Joey and like messaging like, hey, I do a Full House podcast. And he's like, oh, come on. You're like, are you
Right,
serious?
right.
That's what Craig and I go through every single week when we get to talk to these people. It's like talking to David Hasselhoff if you were like a Knight Rider fan.
Knight Rider fan or Baywatch or something.
Yeah, or like it's like, you know, talking to Mr. T. You're like, it takes a minute, dude. There's been plenty of times, dude, when I've been like, just got to chill for a second because this is like, I've waited my whole life to do this. And you just don't want to sound stupid in front of your idols, right?
So, out of curiosity, all the guys that you loved as a kid growing up, have they evolved into this big bike BMX thing in their 50s and 60s? Are they still riding? Like, are you finding these guys still ride? Like, what's happening with them?
Yeah, like
Most of
Bob
them
still
do, yeah,
rides.
Craig.
You can tell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who still
I'm gonna
ride.
grab some water real quick.
Yeah.
You go, Craig.
Yeah, no, there's quite, I would say the majority of our guests still ride at some capacity. Some have moved on. Of course, they're not doing freestyle tricks on their 20-inch bike, even though there's a few. Most of the guys ride mountain bikes. They're into mountain bike racing or something a little bit more
wearing the
easier
spandex that we were talking about to start the show.
Yeah, maybe that, a little bit more cushion in the frame with all the shocks and stuff. But, you know, in some capacity or form, these guys are, you know, it's ingrained in their DNA. They're part of BMX. They have social media accounts that reflect that. Like next month or September, I'm going to what's called an old school BMX reunion, where a lot of these guys, we go to Woodward, which is a BMX complex with dirt tracks, freestyle areas, ramps, you know, quarter pipe, half pipe, street park stuff. These guys are all gathering there to get together to hang out and ride bikes. And it's like, they're still there, you know, it's like still a part of the sport. And if not, you know, a lot of the guys who aren't riding, who don't ride as much, they're still, you know, putting up content on Facebook or BMX. And BMX is really hot right now. And it has been for a couple of years. The old school stuff, obviously the new school, the kids that are doing this bike life thing, you know, they're putting out really awesome clips and reels and stuff with music, and it's viral and it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in BMX right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got my boy a GT, but I don't even know if those are good anymore. GT?
Well, yeah, GT's still around. It's still a brand.
I just bought a brand new one for my boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they're part of, you know, they've got 29-inch bikes down to 20.
Yeah, I got him at 20
in between mountain bikes. Yeah.
Here's what's cool about GT. So the guy that started it, Gary Turner, still makes BMX bikes. He sold the GT name to a corporate company, just like Haro did. Just like Haro did too. And so, because basically most of the major manufacturers of BMX bikes are all owned by like a corporate, you know, company that owns 6 or 7 brands.
Okay.
But Gary Turner still makes bikes, and the coolest part about it, his son Craig Turner lives in Lake Havasu, and he welds like custom BMX bikes because like he's part of that lineage, right? Like it's in his DNA. Got it from his dad. So it's another part of that like community and family part of that business where you can get a GT welded by Gary Turner's son.
That's kind of cool.
That is pretty dope.
Yeah.
I remember the first brand that I wanted when I was a kid was a Murray. Like that was the first.
Murray was big back in the day. Dude.
Yeah,
Murray,
late 70s, early 80s.
Team Murray was fast. Yeah, they had a race
100%.
team.
Team Murray made a cameo in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. If you didn't know that, I know you guys like movies, but go back and watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Team Murray was in it, and Murray was there was just like there is today. There was levels of bikes from when we were kids. You know, Murray, Huffy, Mongoose, and
Huffy. That's right.
GT. You start getting into Hutch, and it's dope, man.
My parents bought me a banana seat Schwinn. Remember, I'm 52. I got a banana seat Schwinn for my first bike, and they would not buy me a BMX bike. So I bought a frame. It was a Dan Gurney DG. Dan Gurney frame. And I built my first BMX bike all by myself.
Dude, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
super
for
cool.
me, same thing. My first bike was my parents bought me a banana seat, and it had knobby tires on it, and it had a not an Indian print, but it had like a feather print on the seat, and it was just, man. And I
Oh, how
freaking
cute.
loved that bike. But I'll tell you what, first time I ever saw my buddy for Christmas one day, and I really wasn't into the bike scene in the same way. Like I lived in England, and in England, I moved back from England in '86, so probably around 12 years old.
Right.
And in England, it wasn't the same thing. And I moved back, and that was kind of when BMX, that was right around the time Rad was out, and BMX was really kind of taking off at that time. And one of my first friends rode up on a Haro, and it was a purple Haro, had white tires, and I mean, I was
that was sexy back
blown
then.
away. I was blown away by this, and that was like what I became obsessed with getting, and I never got it. I never
Oh,
got
dude,
that
when I
full
was a
bike.
kid, man,
me
there was
show you
kids in my
something real quick.
neighborhood that came out with a Haro. Well, Isaac's showing you that. He's got one right there.
There's my green and purple bike, bro. And this would have been like 86.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead. Sorry, Craig.
These kids in my neighborhood came out. They brought like your experience and brought their Haro freestylers out, and we were just like, "Damn, that's sexy."
Yeah,
I took my all chromoly mongoose, and then the Haros were powder coated pastel and hot pink, green,
yeah.
purple, blue. I went down to the bike shop like, give me some pink grips. I want this color seat. I wanted that bike. I wanted mine to look like that because they were hot, dude. It was like the hottest thing to come out.
Yeah.
My buddy used to race when I was early in my teens, and he had red tires on a chrome frame red line, and that was early 80s. That was the sweetest bike in the neighborhood by far. That
Yeah, I
red
didn't get
line.
my first like legit cool BMX bike until I was 21. Me and a bunch of buddies roaming around town getting high, and we were like, "Hey, let's go get bicycles instead of walking around town." So we went to the bike shop, and my buddy bought a red line, and I bought a Diamondback. And 21, that's when I really got like a really cool BMX bike for the first time, and loved every second of it. And then it got stolen.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
I still feel that way every time I get on my bike, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, I love them. Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, I forget what the brand was at the shop by me, but I'm assuming that I'm probably not going to buy, because this was a 24. I probably won't be buying a bike locally. I'm in a small town, Evansville. But yeah, I'm definitely going to sell my Giant because I never ride it. I have no desire to ride it.
Yeah,
Are these things pretty standard? Are they
No.
Are they pretty standard in
No. In a shop?
bike shops now?
Depends on where you are, right?
I would
say it's definitely tailored to demographics. I don't know. I don't travel the country looking at bike shops. However, we do talk to a lot of people across the world. But in the US, yeah, man, you can find these bikes. And we always say, like, go support your local bike shop. If you can get something there first, try to get it from your local shop. And if they don't have it, talk to the guy behind the counter and be like, I want to buy one of these bikes,
Yeah, they'll support your bike for a lifetime. So
exactly. But
what I tell people, like, I go to the SE Bikes website. I'm sponsored by SE, so I'm going to push SE all day long because that's what I love. My bike.
Oh, wait, you're sponsored by them?
I am. Yeah, Craig and I are both sponsored. We got sponsored like January, right around January.
Because of the show.
I'm certainly this helps, but
yeah,
it's. I mean, I have an audience that is like-minded. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
the same thing is like
they want to see what you're riding,
right? But the thing about it is too. I'm not going to put anybody's bike down either. You know what I mean? Like like you're like, I like GT. Hey, did you know Gary Turner makes these frames, right? I'm going to tell you, all I want is for you to have the same joy that I get. Mine, when I ride my SE bikes, I love it, dude. It's very nostalgic for me. So I want you to have that same feeling. And I know when we were kids, we all kind of had an opinion about bikes, at least the hardcore folks like me. It was like, if you like GT, you were like, Haro sucks. And I rode a Haro, so I was like, GT sucks.
Yeah, I was that way.
So it's, and
I was
it's
a skater.
Same thing, dude. Same thing, dude. Right? Powell, Dogtown. You could go all day long, right?
Yep.
So you look at stuff like that, and we still do it today with like Chevy and Ford. It's just I think it's just what we do,
That's
right?
fair.
We just like to argue, and what it boils down to is like, you don't really care what that dude drives. You just want to argue with them about it because you're both really into trucks. That's what it is. It's just you're giving each other a hard time about what you chose. So with BMX bikes, dude, go to the website, go to sebikes.com and look up, find a dealer. You will find one in Indiana. I promise you.
Not in Evansville. There's only one bike shop.
Go outside Evansville a little bit. I don't know. The only thing I know about Evansville, Indiana, is a buddy of mine used to do like a UFC promotion back then called Hook and Shoot.
Oh, really?
Back in the day. Yeah.
Huh.
Look up Hook and Shoot magazine, Evansville, Indiana.
Craig, are you sponsored by SE as well?
No, I'm actually sponsored by a bike company that was formed in the early 70s called Race Inc. And so they have
a shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, I got the shirt on and stuff. And yeah, and like Isaac says, even though we're both sponsored riders for different companies and stuff, what we tried to do with our show is as much as we could is be like that Switzerland show. We want to talk about history, but in one of the things, besides having guests, Isaac and I love the shit out of bikes and how to fix them, how to, what do they ride like? What's this part like? I mean, we have a YouTube show and then we have a podcast that's audio. So we get into more of the nuts and bolts about different brands and bikes, and we invite all brands to come on our show, or at least, hey, if you want us to showcase something, send us out a part and we'll give you a real perspective or a review on what we think. Is it a little, that's how we started.
And now it's a little bit, it's a little bit more refined with both of us riding for these companies. But we're still going to be honest. We're still going to be, that those two guys that just love bikes in general.
But when we go out in public and we ride or we talk about it on the show, we're repping our bike brand, and that's just part of our sponsorship. That's the agreement
you guys
we
get
have
a
with
helmet? Well, I think I watched one where there was a helmet, like
Isaac's
a
got some badass
retro
helmets.
style. Remember that, Isaac?
Yep. It's so they basically the SE bikes released.
Oh, it was SE bikes. Okay.
It was SE. Yeah. So I love nostalgia. We were talking about this, like how it's a good time to be a BMX rider, especially a famous 80s BMX rider, because we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but we're all at an age where we do have a little bit extra cash. We have better paper routes than we had when we were 14. I'll put it that way.
100%.
Yeah.
And my midlife crisis, I'm not out trying to buy a Corvette. I'm not trying to go buy, $20,000 golf clubs. I'm like, I want to buy, a $200
dope ass
set
bike
of wheels, you know what I mean, or something.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to stomach when you kind of put it in perspective, you know what I mean? So I'm not out like spending tons of cash or anything like that, but it's like you want to make sure that people understand what you can do with BMX and where it's going to go. That's really what I was getting at.
Well, you guys are going to have to help me. I'm not going to spend $1,000. I'm going to be that lower price range, but you guys are going to have to help me with my first one.
Yeah, dude. I mean, on the entry level, you can. I don't know what it's like where you live in
Evansville, but you can definitely look at the pre-owned market just to get in. I mean, you could get a super quality high-end bike on a marketplace app or something like Craigslist or OfferUp, and you like right now is a great time to be looking at them, because during the height of COVID or whatever you want to call it, the kickoff, bikes became a big thing that you could go do without being around people. You could be outside, not have a mask on, I guess. And bikes were such a hot commodity. Supply and demand. There weren't any bikes out there. There weren't any bikes buying them, so people were buying them and flipping them for ridiculous amounts. That's kind of subsided. And now you can go on that marketplace because bikes have flooded our market again. and you can get a pretty quality bike for a really decent price. So, Joey, go check that out, man. I would start there, dude.
Here's an SE. It's a 20-inch though.
You
Yeah.
you want a 27.5 or
Correct.
a 29.
Right.
Those two sizes. Don't even go 26 because you're gonna like you want to be comfortable when you're.
Yeah, that's
when you're
what Craig was telling me last night.
Yeah, I mean it's like Isaac says it, and I say it to people too all the time when they're like, "Yeah, man, isn't that bike big though?" And I'm like, "Look, dude, we're older now, and you know it." For me personally, riding a 20-inch, and I have several in my garage, they're cool, but they're not made for me anymore. Like I feel like, you know, you go to the circus in that one act where the guy gets on that little bike and he's pedaling that's how I feel, right? But
we're all thinking it, Craig. If you see a grown ass person on a 20-inch bike, tweaker.
Right,
or
exactly
yeah,
what
well,
you're
yeah.
thinking.
My other thought was you stole it, but same thing.
Okay, yeah. What kid just got jacked for his bike? But
I appreciate
Right,
that you went to
right.
circus to try and church it up a bit.
Right,
But like,
right,
let's
right.
be real.
right. But what's cool about them is these big bikes, right, Joey? The big bikes that you're looking at, the geometry and the feel of them is that 20-inch bike when you were a kid. It's just now in a grown man's size, right? You're the BMX of old school. That's a small medium. Now we want to ride an XL.
Yeah,
but with that same feeling.
yeah. Think about it this way: your 20-inch bike that you rode was in, for perspective, this tall. This is the size of your 20-inch bike, but you were this tall.
No,
Right? So your
I
bike
get
was
it.
this, and so now that you're 6 foot, if you scale the bike as much as you've scaled since you were 13, you have a big BMX bike. And so Craig and I are like, it feels like the BMX bike that you got, Mike, in 21. The Diamondback that you got is what's going to feel like if you grab my bike or Greg's bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, does Diamondback make big bikes?
No.
Not that I don't. I'm going to say hard no because I've never seen one. And matter of fact, I don't even know what Diamondback is anymore. I don't see. Have you seen any bikes from them, Isaac?
I haven't.
No, I don't think they're in the game anymore.
Here's a PK Ripper that's local.
Man.
What size?
27.5.
That's the one I ride, dude. I've been riding that same bike for 3 years.
$1,200 though.
Is
Brand new.
is that purple one? I thought I
White.
saw you on.
It's white.
It'll be
Nice.
silver probably.
Oh yeah, this one's silver.
Yeah. The one that you usually see me on is it's silver with purple. And then I do have one an all purple bike. That's a 29-inch bike. It's a bigger one. Purple and yellow. Those are
Yeah,
two
that's the
you'll see.
one. That was the one that when I saw that, I was like, that's a freaking dope looking bike.
Yeah, this guy
The one
listed this 14 weeks ago, so he's dreaming on the price.
Yeah, that's too much.
14 weeks.
Yeah, dude, like the I used to have a red bike you'd see at work. I rode a Big Ripper, a red one to work, and that's one you'd see in the front, in that little AstroTurf area where the bike rack was inside.
Yeah.
That place. Yeah.
Oh, here's a Diamondback mountain bike. Okay, cool. I've had enough of that, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
don't
we
want a
didn't
mountain
think
bike.
about that.
No. I know. I get the
I
difference.
don't want a mountain bike.
No.
What did we think about, Craig?
No, I was just saying I forgot that, most of the brands when mountain bikes reach their height, or we shouldn't say their height, but in the late 80s or mid 80s to through the 90s, mountain bikes got super popular. So you have brands like Diamondback, Skyway, all the major brands were dipping into the Haro into the mountain bike market, and some still have them. Haro they have a huge mountain bike lineup, which is really awesome. I mean, I've never been on one, but Isaac, it just got me thinking about, does Diamondback still make mountain bikes? I don't even think they make shit.
Here's who's still around. Here's who's still around. So you got SE Racing, Kuhara. You've got
Oh
GT.
yeah, I remember that.
You got
Okay.
GT.
The
You got
ET
Dyno.
bike.
The ET bike is GT Dyno, Haro, Mongoose is still around. Hoffman bikes. If you remember Matt Hoffman, like he
Yeah,
had
I
he had
do
his own
remember
bike
Matt.
line. He's
Redline's there
He's
too.
got some bikes.
Redline's still around?
Oh, okay.
Redline is still around. Yeah, they're holding on. So, dude, there's like, if you had a favorite bike as a kid, Hutch still makes bikes. You can get a big blue. Was it the Pro Max? You can get a big Pro Max right now. I think is the last one they dropped. But
Well, and
CW
there's
is still
guys-
around.
Yeah, it's CW. That's a good one. There's a couple fabricators out there who are actually that will make you a retro bike in a large platform frame. So if you want a 29-inch Mongoose, this guy will make you that frame with those dimensions, but a 29-inch. So
A bespoke one. Yeah.
a bespoke
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So
Oh, here's one for $650, a big flyer.
It's not bad. It's not a bad price for
No.
a big flyer. Is it
yeah,
used?
it depends on what shape
Yeah,
it's in, how
it's
much
pre-owned. It looks good. 29-inch.
How far is it from me?
Ridden one time before buying a fast ripper.
What color and
Oh.
what year?
White.
When
Sounds
do they make a white? Oh, it could be a city. Is it white and black
Black
splatter?
lettering.
Spots on it.
and black
That
wheels.
could be a city grounds.
City grounds is what I'm thinking.
But the wheels are huge.
29, bro.
That's a 29er, dude.
Are they just thick tires though?
2.3, yeah, like mine are 2.5, 2.5 inches wide. You want that though, so when you're wheeling, dude, you can it's like trying to stand on a platform or on an ice skate. The bigger the wheel,
Yeah.
the more comfy it is. Comfort, bro. I'm all comfort. I'm telling you. Let me help you.
Yeah, that's I think that's my big fear. I mean, I'm a big boy at 290.
Don't matter. Don't matter. I'm telling you, bro. Here's the thing. Go if you
No, go getting those will get me under 290.
quickly. But here's the thing, dude. This is the best. If you go on a bike ride and I tell you, dude, we're gonna go. It's a 14-mile bike ride. You're gonna be like, I'm out. Now, if I tell you, you walk, the average person walks 4 miles an hour. So if I tell you, can you ride a bike, talking to somebody at a casual pace
Easy.
for an hour? Yes, you can. I promise you can.
Yeah, I lost all my weight on my bike. I love
Dude.
riding. I can ride 50 miles a day, no problem.
Mike.
Well, on a geared bike.
Mike, here's the deal. I'm going to loan you a bike. You're going to come with me to a ride in downtown Phoenix. We're going to ride around, and you can borrow my purple bike, right? I got a helmet you can borrow. Just come and ride around for one night and try not to be addicted and go, I'm coming back next
In the
week.
heat.
Try.
Do it.
Listen, I get addicted to shit too easy. Like that would be
He'd be
hey,
done,
babe,
guaranteed.
I'm about ready to drop $1,000. I'm gonna walk out of this room like, hey, I'm gonna go drop $1,000 this weekend. That's how that's gonna play.
I'll tell you what, dude. You go ride with me this weekend and come back and then try not to have Nene come. Try not to.
Oh,
Try
I
not
guarantee she'd be all about it.
I promise you she would.
Listen, she'd be all about it. If I walked out, real talk, if I walked out right now and it's like, hey, let's sell our bikes and let's go get these big BMX. She's like, are you going to ride? I'd be like, yeah, I'll go ride. She'd be all about it. I mean,
so
she's
cool.
listening right now, so she'll probably weigh in here any second now. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Nene, make it happen, please.
That's awesome. I love this.
I'm gonna steal Mike for one night on a Saturday for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then you can come back. You can come back and say, do you think she's gonna want to do it? And you're gonna be like, yep.
Oh, 100%. I'm telling you already, I wouldn't even have to ask. She'd be all
Renee,
about
we're waiting for your.
Yeah.
I'm watching the comments in the live chat.
Yeah, I'm
but,
not getting anything yet.
And you know what? And one of the things, Mike and Joey, check this out, dude. Like the bikes are just, of course, the bikes are what you need to have to be out there and riding around. But then there's the culture of the ride out scene, getting together with other people. Isaac and I went on a ride last year with 6,000 other people, bro, in Santa Cruz.
Where was that at?
Santa Cruz, California.
Santa Cruz is a dope
6,000.
town too.
Yeah, it is.
It's super dope, right?
But Craig,
I think
just
that's
so-
why 6,000 people show up.
Just for a little reference, though, Mike and I rode motorcycles in a club for a while. And so we're used to that grouping up. It's something that we both love. So
Yeah.
You're gonna love this.
we're
thing.
familiar with
It's the
that.
same culture.
Yeah.
It's the same culture.
Well, I'm sure
the
it's
same culture.
less toxic, though.
Yeah, it's probably not as violent and
It's not the same as like, it's not that same kind of like club culture. It does mimic that brotherhood that like,
Yeah.
I steer away from brotherhood because it really is, when I say it's like family friendly, it's like you have people that bring their entire families out. You have people that bring, I know dudes that ride with, like, they bring their dad, they bring their sister, they bring their whole family, like I do. It's definitely like a community family like that. If somebody falls, like everyone's like, "You good? How are you?" Like, "Are you all right?"
Yeah.
For sure.
Everyone's breaking out tools. If you get a flat, everyone's like, if you get a flat, dude, regardless of what it is, people are so fast to fix your bike that it's like a NASCAR pit crew. You're like, "I got a flat."
Dude, I got 3 flats on one ride out in Los Angeles where I didn't know where I was, bro. People were there with vests on, like, stand
That's
back.
so cool.
Dude, yeah. Bro, the first time I went on a ride out, right, the first corner, I didn't tighten one bolt, and so my back wheel turned, and it was Brent. Brent was riding that bike, and she's like, "Babe, something's wrong." And I look at her tire; it's all. So we pull the side. I'm like, okay, grab the bike. Some dude just like flips it upside down. All right, let's go. Like, I didn't even have to repair my own bike. Some dude saw it and was like, already has ratchet out. I swear to God. So it's like, that's the kind of community that it is, though. Because like,
so crazy.
Because we all, and this is the one part I guess that we kind of left out a bit. Well, completely. In like the end of the 80s, freestyle kind of died for a lot of us, right?
Sure.
I still rode all the way up through college, but as soon as I got to college, it was like I went away to college. I bought a freestyle bike, but I didn't have anybody to freestyle with. Yeah. And for me, it was always about social, right? Like, hey, do you ride bikes like Star Wars, right? So riding by myself sucked. So I just ended up not riding. So from like 93, I came back to California. I tried to ride again, couldn't find anyone to ride with, got bored, left, bought another bike, tried to couldn't find someone to ride with, got bored, left. And so what I've learned about myself is I don't like to ride bikes by myself. I want to be able to, I get just as excited seeing my friend Craig ride as I do. So my whole thing is like, I will scream it till the day I die. Like, get out and ride bikes with me, please. Because I love riding bikes. But what I learned by not having bikes in my life for so long, I love bikes, but I love riding bikes with people. I like that shared experience. And I wish I could put my thumb on it and just tell you, I like it because this. I don't have that. I like it because
totally makes sense.
I like it because I get to go outside. I like it because I get to see cities like Santa Cruz that I don't get to see all the time in a very different way than I do in a car. I like it because
that's what I think I'd be interested in, is doing something like that. Because like I said, I've like Santa Cruz, like it's such a dope city. That, like some of the cities you've even talked about. I lived in Monterey once for 3 days.
I call that a vacation, but
I call that a vacation too. Come on now.
I lived in real talk. I lived in San Diego once, like packed up, moved to San Diego, lived there for 7 days, turned around and came home. Same thing, packed up, moved to San Diego to Monterey, 3 days. So I've lived in California, like packed up and moved with the intent to live there for a grand total of 10 days.
That's amazing, dude.
That's my California experience.
Check this out, guys. The matching bike to my son's GT. There's one on Facebook Marketplace, $550 for the 29-incher.
Buy it.
GT Pro Series.
Buy it.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. Your son would love that too.
It's the exact same colors. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit him up.
Yeah, you have to buy it at this point because dude, how fun is that going to be riding the exact same bike as your son down the street?
Oh my god!
Yeah. You have to buy it. You have to buy it. But yeah, dude, that's pretty much our podcast in a nutshell. Like, we stumbled upon it. I accidentally found my best friend, and we kind of, hope for the best when we ask people to come on the show. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is though. Like this got me through the pandemic. This got me through that crazy election. This got me through all the stuff that is like would normally spiral. Like I would just be like hating everyone and spiraling out of control. I quit Facebook, you guys. I stopped and I'm like, I'm just going to go on the BMX groups. I'm back on Facebook because all I do is go to my groups. I don't have to listen to anyone talk about their politics or their virology and what they think about, anything. I'm just like,
listen, I got a magic superpower when it comes to social media.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to filter. I decided several years ago the only thing that I will use social media for is to create positive content, and I feel like I have mission accomplished on that piece. I only create positive content, and at the same time, I've done a phenomenal job of being able to filter out all of the bullshit on it. Like I don't have to worry about. I mean, listen. I'll block family members if you get too wild for me. Like,
oh no, he does.
No offense, but I'm not putting
that
up
awkward
with
Thanksgiving dinner, man.
It's not even that awkward. I'm really clear about it. I'm like, listen, you're blocked. I don't follow you on social. Recently had a family member reach out and like, hey, I changed jobs. It's like, really? I didn't know about that. I posted on social. I was like, I don't follow you on social. I can't deal with your level of craziness on social.
Yeah. But I
was pretty honest about it.
You also just described yourself in real life, twice. You're like, this. I have a magic social power. No, dude, that's just you. That's your personality. I like that. It's good.
You know what else our podcast has done for us is Mike and I, we've been separated for 4 years now, and we were rarely talking. We'd say hello in the morning and that was it. Mike says hello every day.
Yeah.
And we weren't talking at all. Now I get to talk to my best friend multiple times a week now.
Yeah. Craig, what you don't know, between like I know Joey and Mike from work and they were inseparable. Like it was, you'd see them all the time. I in fact, before I knew them, they both had beards at the time. I was like, I wasn't sure that they weren't the same person. To be honest with you, until you'd see.
We got that. Yeah, we've gotten that. We actually, I'll tell you our story real quick. Joey and I, we've told this audience before. Joey and I met in a hot tub in 1998, I think it was.
Yep.
I had moved. So another stupid moving story. I moved to Iowa once, also for 3 weeks. Met a chick online, moved out, talked to her for a whole year. She came out and visited me in Arizona, like the whole 9 yards. Everything was great. She's like, you ought to come. I didn't have nothing going on. Moved to Iowa. I was like, shit, I'll move to Iowa. So I picked up and moved to Iowa. And the first day that we were there, I met her husband. Yeah. That was interesting. Who she threw out of her house that morning. Anyways, fast forward.
We have company.
Yeah.
You gotta go, bro.
So I moved to Florida, moved with my ex actually to Florida, and we're in South Florida, and we lived in this little apartment complex, and we lived right across the street from the pool, and so every single night we'd sneak out, me and my girlfriend, while her kids were sleeping at like 2-3 in the morning, go get alone time in the jacuzzi. And so most nights, no problem. But one night we stuck out at like 2:30 in the morning. I come walking around the corner and there's this big old dude sitting in a hot tub with a beard like down to here, these big gauges in his ears, all tattooed up. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be in the same pool with this cat. I was like, we're here already. So we jump in. I jump in and it was Joey. That's how I met Joey. And like 5 minutes into us just sitting there talking in the pool, we were like, yep, we're homies. He told me, and this is back in like, late 90s where tattoo shops were not nearly as mainstream as they are today. So for context, we lived in Delray Beach, Florida, but Joey owned in the nice part of Boca Raton, which is like the most expensive place in it's like
Or
high
La
end
Jolla.
Florida, and Joey owns this like really dope tattoo shop right in the middle of downtown, gorgeous Boca Raton, Florida. And still to this day, probably one of the cleanest tattoo shops I've ever been in. Joey was a gangster. In fact, that would be somebody cool to bring on. Did you guys ever watch that show? What was the show? What was the
Ink
show
Master.
she was on, Joey?
Ink
Ink Master.
Master.
You ever watch that show, Ink Master?
Yeah.
So first
season of
first season I had one of my artists on the show, Leah Vendetta.
I'll have to
Who
go back and look.
she is married to Ricky Rackman from Headbangers Ball.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
she just
funny,
married him.
dude.
Yeah.
I interviewed the guy that won Joey. What's his name? Joey, like season 6 or something like that. I interviewed him for the GoDaddy blog.
Oh, really?
Super cool. Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Slick back hair guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember him.
Wears he like wears vests and like button
Yeah.
up, you know.
Yeah, I
kind of
remember him.
a dapper guy. I was at Star Wars Celebration, dude, and he's a licensed Star Wars tattoo artist. I didn't know there was such a thing.
I've never heard that either.
Kidding.
Yeah, there's a guy in Gilbert, Arizona, just 2 blocks over from me. There's also a like licensed Star Wars
What shop?
tattoo artist.
Black Lotus?
Black Lotus. Yeah.
Wait, who is it?
Tyler.
I know him.
Tyler.
I know that dude.
Tyler.
Oh, well, my tattoo artist is at Is John still at Black Lotus?
Yeah. Yeah,
John
but he's
Hansen's
got that
my
dude,
tattoo
the big,
artist.
that guy he's that real big, heavy set dude there.
I know who you're talking
Tyler
about.
Tyler Neagley or Tyler is it Tyler Neely?
I don't know his
Neagley?
last
I had
name.
no idea that was a thing.
Yeah,
He'll be.
dude.
I'll go to him for my next tattoo then.
Yeah, I have one from him.
I struggle not going to John.
Yeah, John.
I got this one from him.
Nice. Are you still part
Yeah,
of the
he does,
101?
The 501st, yeah.
Or
I'm not
501st,
anymore.
that's
I'm retired because to maintain membership in the 501st Legion, you have to like go and do a charity event in your Star Wars suit.
Yeah.
At least every year. And so I stopped before the pandemic. They kind of extended my membership a little bit, and then I was like, I'm not going to go. And then I lost because I started BMXing and I lost a bunch of weight, and so all my Stormtrooper armor didn't fit anymore. And you got to like, it's plastic and it's glued together, so you have to like, I'd have to do a whole new suit. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to be this thin for very long because like I didn't know how I wasn't trying to get skinny.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wasn't committed I wouldn't buy jeans, so I just bought new belts and just cinched them. And so. True story, dude, because I was like, I'm not buying new pants. I'm going to get fat again. So I didn't trust it. So, yeah, I stopped. I basically stopped like the Star Wars stuff. Plus, that got really toxic too. Like the whole Star Wars community after The Force Awakens, like people had opinions. And I'm like, I'm just going to be honest. This is going to trigger all of you. Star Wars isn't that good of a movie. Right? Everyone's
the
just
original
like,
New Hope?
The New Hope. If you watch those first 3 movies,
Terrible movie.
They're not that good. The dialogue is kind of cheesy.
The prequels are phenomenal, though.
See, I hate the prequels even more.
Oh, come on,
dude! Please, an interstellar banking trade like it's a real page turner for kids. Like trade disputes in space.
I hear you, but then listen. Oh, you're gonna get me geeking out on the thing that I love the most now.
We do this all the time. We've done this plenty of times. And
yeah,
do you know how you won me over to the prequels? You had me listen to Dave Filoni explain the prequels, and then I was like,
"Oh,
it makes it all different." I agree.
You need a pillow, Craig?
I tried to go back and watch. Yeah, Craig's like, "You guys, let's get back to BMX." I tried to watch the prequels again, dude, and then Jar Jar shows up, and I'm like, "Dave Filoni, I love you, bro, but like." Jar Jar is horrible. And then
listen,
like, dude, I want to chime in, but I have no Legion affiliation, so I feel like I'm just.
Have you watched Star Wars, Craig? Have you watched Star Wars,
dude? The other night, we watched the whole thing. Like I know who Jar Jar Binks is.
Craig. Do you like Star Wars? Do you like Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Then you can be in this conversation. Here we go.
Boom.
You're in, Craig. What do you think about Jar
here's
Jar
the
Binks?
best.
I've never watched
Jar Jar
any
Binks
Star
is
Wars movie or show ever.
Jar Jar Binks is the worst character that Star Wars has, hands down.
I love Jar
I just
Jar
thought
Binks.
he was obnoxious. I was like, what is this guy
In the
doing?
underwater
and he
city.
keeps showing up. The underwater city. No, I'm just like, I get it, the fool and the comedy, but he's not even that funny. He's just super foolish, and it makes no sense.
I love
There
him.
you go.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We had this conversation, another one today. The Star Wars fan base is the most toxic fan base.
It's awful.
Yeah. It's so bad. Somebody sent me over a video today, and you get all these people like, oh, they're playing woke this and they're doing this, and it's just like, listen, I don't care. I literally do not care what Star Wars puts out, what they do. If it's Star Wars content, I'm consuming it, and I'm gonna love every single minute of it. I don't
100%.
care.
100%.
I just like Star Wars.
Here's what I'll tell you, Craig. You gotta stick through this little. Thank you for coming to my TED talk about Star Wars, Craig. Hang on, I'll be done in a sec. Okay. Here we go. So, Book of Boba Fett, didn't love it. Right. Still watched it 3 times, start to finish. Didn't love it, but I still watch it because I love Star Wars. Right. But like the thing about like even Kenobi, right? Everyone's like angry about the whatever number sister she was. Like there was a lot of people. Third sister. Okay.
She was third.
She was the third sister. I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't like.
I didn't understand their complaints either.
Bad dialogue is par for the course for Star Wars. So she had to deliver
100%.
She had to deliver some really hard lines, and like, I know the argument. Like any actor could do that. No, you can't. Natalie Portman couldn't deliver bad lines to save her life in the prequels. Like if Natalie Portman can't do it, nobody's going to do it. Like she's amazing, right? You're breaking my heart, Anakin. Please, come on. It was horrible.
I get what you're saying.
So here's the thing, though. I loved watching Star Wars. I will always love watching Star Wars, and I will tell you why the fan base is so toxic. And this will make sense. Maybe makes sense to me. We all think we own Star Wars because we all grew up with Star Wars. We all made friends with Star Wars. We had Star Wars sheets and pillowcases and pencils. This is mine. I am a Star Wars person. So my opinion matters. I bought the toys. I've earned my voice. That's the way we all feel. So you have a bunch of people coming in going, I just don't like her. And then you got someone else going, you don't like her because you're racist. Nope. I just don't like the dialogue. The dialogue's really pretty bad. And then you're going to have someone else coming in going, it's woke Disney. And you're going, bro, I didn't know. Like it's space, it's aliens, it's space, right? Like,
yeah,
you guys have missed everything about this. Like, I don't get it. Like, just
everybody's
let
saying
characters
that
be.
right now.
Let characters be who they are. Have fun with it. It's okay not to like somebody. You don't have to like every character. That's the point of a movie, right? Like, but because we loved everybody in Star Wars before, now we think like we have to love every single character now, and you don't, dude. It's like
everybody thinks they're an expert on it, like you said, because we all grew up with it, especially us, right?
Yeah.
You've got, and then I think what happens is kind of to add on to that. Then you've got, in the 2000s, you've got the prequels that come out, so you get a whole new, completely new generation of these Star Wars fans and now they think they own a piece of Star Wars, and this group is like, no, my Star Wars is better than your Star Wars, and there's this. Listen, the best Star Wars content out there is Clone Wars and Rebels.
One of my favorites was Solo. I loved it.
I thought Solo was a great movie. I love Solo.
So. I loved it.
It was all right.
No, it was amazing.
Listen, we can get on that.
Yeah. I'm glad you love it. That's the thing about like that's my take on Star Wars, dude.
I'm pretty simple. I'm easy. Yeah. I'm so easy to please.
Han Solo's great. I like Rogue One. I loved like the robots, the robot Kate. Was it Kate? No.
Yeah.
Was it K2SO in that one? I loved K2SO. I love the robot in
I loved
Solo.
Rogue One too.
I mean, dude, it's just fun. Like Star Wars is fun if you let it be fun. If you don't want to argue about it, it's a lot of fun to watch. Like, and I think I'm just too old to care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care
agree.
about the
I get there.
characters to where I'm like that. And honestly, like, I don't care to change your mind anymore either. Like, that's the other part. Like,
Too
you
much
know, like,
work.
I'm not going to jump in and argue about episode 2 of a series that I haven't seen the whole thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, like people came out about on Kenobi like early, like, oh, I don't like her, and I'm like, bro, you've seen 15 minutes total of content, and it's all the build up. Like, Luke was pretty unappealing at the very first time you met him too, right? Like he like he wasn't that interesting drinking blue milk. Like, let's be honest.
I think when we first started talking about different ideas for podcasts, like it came up talking about doing a Star Wars podcast, and I was just like, you know what? That's just you talk about the culture that you all have in the BMX world. It's like the exact opposite in the Star Wars fandom. Like, I know you're comparing two totally different subset of things,
it's not,
but
it's two different hobbies that people feel passionate about and grew up with nostalgia. It's the same thing. Let me ask you this: what's your goal for your podcast? Why do you do it?
Hang out with my buddy and have fun.
Yeah, I mean,
how's that sound, Craig? Right?
That sounds pretty familiar, dude. I mean, that if it's not that, then you know. And here's the thing, and I said it earlier. I'm like, yeah, man, if you're not linked to passion, or at least hanging out with your buddy like me and Isaac, like you and Joey, like, it's going to be so transparent and so obvious. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have fun. You have to really enjoy hanging out, talking to people, and not so much about what you love about something, but like, hey man, tell me your story. What do you like? You know, you're creating conversation. You're opening the door to different topics, and you're letting them choose which one they want to go in. And then that door swings open. It's like, we have a whole show now. You know?
Yeah.
But you're having fun with it, dude. I mean, it wouldn't be half of what it is, like what Isaac and I do. If him and I, like, we don't show up with a guest and it's like a cold call, like, oh, the guest is here, what should we talk about? Me and Isaac literally have so much passion behind what we do. We have talked about who this person is, what they used to do, and it wasn't like, hey, I found this online. I'll be like, bro, you remember this? Remember? Oh, Isaac's like, oh, dude, I saw that guy in Vallejo at the Mervin's parking lot. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah. So we've got all this built up, and I'm not saying it has to be that with everyone, but you know what you guys are doing. I mean, making the podcast, bro. You guys that's your niche, man, and you guys seem to like each other. I kind of feel that vibe. Of course, I feel it. You guys are smiling, having fun. Isaac,
you guys want to hear something crazy? Like, I met Craig on our podcast, and then we podcasted for a year at that point. I finally go to that ride we're talking about in Santa Cruz with 6,000 people. First time I met Craig face to face.
That was 2 years after we started.
Oh,
that
wow.
was
2 years.
Dos años, amigo. That was 2 years. And people would be like, see, the thing is, nobody knew, you know, location wise, I was in Cali and he was out in Arizona. I would go on a ride out and people would go, hey dude, is Isaac showing up? I'd be like, you know, he lives in Arizona, right? They're like, what? Oh, he's not coming. I'm like, no, dude, he lives in another state. So when we hit Santa Cruz, people are like, oh, I haven't seen you guys together. I'm like, we literally are meeting face to face.
We haven't either. Yeah.
For the first time. We've never met each other.
Yeah.
Were you shocked at how tall or short one another was by any chance? Were you like, oh, okay.
I don't know if there was that, but I mean, like, Isaac had a pretty luscious beard. I mean, he's trimmed down a little on the beard.
Yeah.
But
pretty crazy there for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, you did have a pretty epic beard for a while.
Yeah, I just gave up, dude. I stopped, and I was I'll full transparency, dude. Here's what happened.
This is out of hand for me.
So my beard grew real big, real like I have it like it's curly and like thick. So the problem is it grows out instead of like down. So I have to it grew all like this, and then I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and it was like, that looks easy. So I did the same thing they did, and then I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, uh-oh. Because all I did was like trim the sides. And so it just looked like my beard went and just fell down like down here. So I had this like this big like long beard here. And then this looked like nice and tidy. And so I looked a lot like ZZ Top. And so I was like, I can't. It's not good. So then I started trimming it to get it back to normal. and it was like shelf was all wonky, and so I was like, all right, let's just go with I'll just do a goatee, and I'll look like I play softball. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a softball guy. So I did the goatee until it could grow out a little bit, and so now I'm ready to grow it all out.
Well, go ahead. I was gonna say let's wrap it up.
Yeah, when we tell you my sign was about wrapping it up, I realized my lights went off behind me on the timer. I was like, okay, this has gone on. Yeah, I was like, oh man, that means it's after 8:30 at this point.
Yeah.
Isaac and I, we have this thing, and it's been the same thing every time. We say, we have a guest on. We're like, hey, we're gonna wrap up. Hey, thanks everyone. When we announce wrap up, we have a solid 30 minutes left. There is no wrap up and it's done. Like
we try.
We try. It's not like Isaac. It's not like lack of effort, bro. It's just like someone goes, okay, we'll see you at the so-and-so ride out. Thanks for having me on. We're like, wait a minute. Yeah, and we just.
The only difference is it's 11 p.m. for me.
Yeah. No, we'll let you go. Here's the truth though, dude. It's funny because like when I post an interview, I'll post it as a premiere on YouTube so that we have live chat. People will come live chat with us. So it's just another way to talk to other BMXers across the globe. Australia, they'll come. And so it's funny because I'll be like, all right, man, last question, then we're going to wrap, and I'm like, okay. And then people in the chat will be like, all right, man, great episode. I'll be like, hold on, 45 more minutes, y'all. Sit on down. Yeah, we're not done. Trust me, because I edited this. This is the first close. And then I even say it again. I'm like, that's the second close. We got another 20 minutes, y'all. Hang tight. And they're like, that's so funny. We just can't. We're not good at it. So, but yeah, we'll wrap this up.
I don't think there's an easy, smooth way to just be like, hey, that's it. Unless you're going like a predetermined time, you're like, hey, at 8:30, the show's over. We're turning off. Like, I think that's the only way you can be.
Well, you could, but if you look in our experience, or at least from where I see it, Isaac, if you create a hard stop and then you're with a guest and the conversation is like so good and things are so cool, you cannot hard stop that, because if you're excited, if he and I are excited about what we're hearing, so is everyone that's watching it. And if we're like, it'll be like that. I don't know if you guys are into football, but back in the 70s, it was called the Heidi Bowl or some bullshit, where the Raiders ended their game before the game was over to show the movie Heidi. People were like all up in arms. I don't want a Heidi Bowl.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So we tell God we'd like to have you on for an hour. That's our target. We've had those targeted 1 hour turn into 3 hours. We're like, hey, we got a two-part episode now. Whatever. But dude, you got to let it go. Whatever it is, organically, let that go to that point. And then sometimes I'll like text Isaac like, hey, do you want to wrap? Because it's such a cool point to wrap. Not like I want to stop, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, if we end on this note with this thought, once we conclude this portion of this conversation, if we close it down then, dude, that's going to be
strong finish.
High. It's a strong finish, right? So,
well, just know this. We have gone an hour longer than I've ever let an episode go because of how good our conversation has been.
That's awesome.
Word.
Yeah, that's solid. I love it.
Awesome.
Well, I will end up my portion, and I will tell you, thank you for considering us for your show. Super, super honored. I do want to let's hang out. I want you to teach me how you're doing this, because this looks way cool. I love the overlay on Twitch. That's cool. So Joey, thank you so much for having us, dude. It's been an honor to come and hang out and chit chat on something that like I don't have to edit. So thank you so much for doing that, giving me that opportunity.
I get it.
And Mike, it's always good to see you, brother. Come ride bikes, man. I just want,
man.
If you're watching this, all I want is you to come ride bikes with me one time, and you're gonna love it, and you're gonna want to ride bikes with me forever. So I'm gonna get you out there. Craig, thanks for hanging out. Tell your wife thanks for letting me have you.
Dude, I will. Hours. And you know what? We're closing out their show. I want to hear their close, dude. You're making it easy for them. I want to hear what they're doing to close this sucker up, man.
Well, I did want to thank you guys. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
huge.
We weren't kidding.
One
You
day.
all were a little bit of a dream guest for us because I mean, you go back and watch. If Joey has truly loaded up all the YouTube videos, you'll probably see from episode 1, we brought you up like right from the jump. You were the only person that we knew that was running what we considered a really successful podcast. So it's kind of like, and we've brought you up in a couple other episodes.
Wait, let's not get the expectations up, Mike. I've only got the last 3 up and the 2 first ones.
All right.
So we're missing a few. But I don't want
I'll go back and
expectations. But we've both mentioned you guys. So yeah, it's definitely, we were very excited to get you. And on a 1-day notice, that's huge. Thank you guys.
Dude, we'll always do that for you.
Now, the way that I close up is really no big deal, I don't think. I just say if you're still here, you haven't followed, or like on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed, please do that, because if you're here this long, you might as well.
You're invested.
Yeah.
You're bought in.
Yeah, so you might as well be notified when we go live next.
And we're going to bring you more content like this. It's going to happen.
For sure.
Always, right?
So,
and that's
always.
it.
It's a win.
That's all I do. And then I hit the stop streaming at a very awkward moment, and it's always an awkward close. I think that's just a typical thing for all podcasts. I don't know.
Yeah. I will tell you this,
go.
dude. If you're still watching, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps for me, it helps me come back and go, yep, I'm going to sit down and edit for 5 hours. Like, that gets me excited. Not anything else, not the subscriber count. None of that stuff, but like seeing people comment on it in the midweek, like
I love that.
Man, somebody
best.
watched my video. Yeah,
the comments are my favorite.
Yep.
Well, look, it's like you said earlier. It's like it's the gamify. It's the gamified piece of it. Like you've turned it into a little bit of game. Like, hey, can I get that? Can I get that? It's not even. I don't really care. Like I'm not bragging. Like, hey, we have 800 followers. It's like, hey, I want to get to 800 followers, and then I want to get to 900 because it's the next number to chase, right?
Trust me, dude. We were texting back and forth, Craig and I, when it was like 997, 998. We were like, come on, we're gonna get that 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, dude, it's fun, man. I totally understand that, and I'm the same way.
1,000? 1,000 is monetized.
I think so. I think it was 1,000. I hate to say I forgot, but I think it was 1,000.
Okay.
But I will tell you this, dude. Like, as you close, right? This is the second close. Don't. I reply to all the comments, dude. If I get a notification that somebody made a comment, I still to this day am like, I can't believe you watched this. Thank you so much. Like, that's I feel like if you've watched the video and taken time to comment, even if you're like, dude, you're old and your beard's crooked, I'm like, thanks for watching. You know what I mean? Like, I still can't believe people watch it and take time to comment, and I appreciate all of them. So,
hey, Renee gave the go ahead, by the way. It's not like a clear coat, yes, you can get a new bike kind of yes, but it was a yes, I love to ride bikes. Absolutely.
Well, listen, it's clear that she wasn't listening to the early part of the show.
Based on how she answered,
going out and dropping $1,000 on a bike or two.
Yeah, I translate that as go ahead right now, get what you want.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
I ain't saying anything, dude. I know your wife. I ain't saying anything.
She co-signed.
I have no skin in the
You got to
game.
work
I'm
with her
like,
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, she's not gonna call me and yell at me. So I'm telling you, that was her thing. Yes.
Yeah. Nene's got the juice, man. I'm not getting anywhere near that.
She says I'm
yes,
getting
I'm
a
all
new
in.
bike before he does. I think that's a yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Listen, she just said mine doesn't have any gears, and that is a true story. The bike that the 2 bikes that we have, I've got I won a bike at work a few years back, the GoDaddy bike. I got this really dope green and black one, and she instantly claimed it, and so I had to go out and buy my own. So I got one of those big wheel bikes, the fat tire bikes, and those things are not easy to ride. So the very first thing I did, listen, those fat tire bikes
they're ridiculous.
are not easy to ride.
Right, I get it.
So I quickly learned that I needed to go put gears on that bad boy if I was going to be able to ride that bike.
Yeah.
I got
you, Nene.
Okay.
I'm gonna get the right bikes.
We're done.
All right.
Love yous.
Thanks, guys.
You guys are
See
awesome.
y'all.
Have a great night.
Later.
Chat soon.
See ya.